be excused?
This date is done with Dr. Kwiatkowski.
We would say subject to recall.
Your Honor, if we can approach about that.
Okay. How many other exhibits does the defense have some issue about chain of custody, if any?
We don't, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
then they don't have an issue about Detective Reese.
Well, I think she's trying to, he's the one that collected it from the hospital, so I believe she just, are you talking about 227?
You just heard what she says up here. They've got a third sample they want to get into. Do you have issues about that?
I don't know which sample it is. There were a bunch of tests in this
It's
case.
the one that Detective Reese collected on February 27th, 2023. It's 1600. It's technically 1604. It's the urine sample. It went to the MPD crime lab. They sent it
From
out
what
to us.
time?
February 27th, 2023. It's 1604.
Issues or not?
Sorry.
I would like for him to testify to establish it. But if he can testify that he was the one that picked it up and labeled it and put it in the Metro Nashville Police Department's vault, I would have no issues with it.
Okay. All right, let the jury step back then.
So we are calling it for fabrication purposes at this time?
Apparently.
Okay.
I don't know what you're all going to call it. Would Dr. Brugler know when the second sample was taken? Is she here?
Judge, we have Dr. Mifflin here, and she has that information.
Okay.
Detective Reese.
Just have a seat back there. The jury's taking a short break. And is Dr. Mitton out there? Yeah, bring her back in so we don't have to take another break about the comforter. Yes, yes, step up, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Have a seat. Doctor, you testified previously at the jury out hearing. The defense has made a statement that you made up. Did you do testing on the comforter?
I did.
They've made a statement that you made up that test. Is that accurate?
No.
Do you have questions about whether she made up a test?
Yes, briefly.
Okay, go ahead.
The testing that you
You
utilized.
can, so we can hear it on the
I'm
mic.
sorry, thank you. The testing, Dr. Bethune, that you utilized for the comforter, was that a standard test that was previously approved and accredited?
So the physical testing on the instruments is,
On the comforter?
yes, but the preparation of the sample is unique. So how we figure out where to sample on the comforter, and then we do an extraction method to pull biological fluids and samples off of that inanimate object. But once that is extracted off of the comforter itself, it's run under the same methods that have been validated in the laboratory. So the testing itself is the only step that's unique is that initial preparation step.
And the preparation would be the gathering of the matrix from the actual comforter?
It's selecting the portion of the, in this case a comforter, but selecting where you're going to be pulling samples from and testing. And then we prepare control samples in parallel along with the unknown sample being tested to show that the extraction is working properly, that all the steps in that process are working properly. So it's still following all those same scientific methods.
Once you get the actual matrix to test, but in order to remove the actual substance to test, that is something that is unique, correct?
It is unique in this case, yes.
And that is something that,
Why is that?
Why is that? Because they're so rare that we get these kinds of cases, and each case is different. It could be a bloodied t-shirt. It could be a bloodied napkin.
Off of an undergarment.
I mean, we don't do DNA testing, but we only do the drug testing, but it's,
So you cut something off of something that was on the comforter.
we cut, squares, sample squares out of the comforter where stains were, and in other locations where there were no stains.
Is there anything in that process that affects your findings?
We use the controls to make sure that they're not going to impact our findings.
Is there anything in that process that affects your findings?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, we run the same internal standards and the same controls that we do with a normal blood sample.
didn't you have to use another control in order to make the test work that wasn't actually assigned to this particular matrix?
We do that as a safety control.
Hang on. I don't know what a matrix is.
Matrix is just another term for a specimen, whether it's blood, urine, it's just a general term.
And what is your question?
The control that you developed originally didn't work, right?
No, that's incorrect. The controls worked.
What is it that you had to utilize from something else?
Oh,
Yes.
I believe you're asking about the external control. So we, in addition to, we take control spaces on the garment when possible, places where there are no stains. We also do an external control. It's called a negative external control. That is an additional quality control sample to ensure the accuracy of the test and ensure that contamination isn't occurring in the laboratory, that our processes are working. It's just an extra safety and control measure performed.
But when the lab became accredited, they did not approve the method that you utilized to extract the matrix from this comforter, did they?
I'm not sure that that is under an accreditation. A forensic investigation like that isn't a category of accreditation.
Well, has that method ever been tested by your peers in terms of the one that you created, unique for this test?
It was peer reviewed and published.
I'm not speaking about for this test. Prior to this particular testing, that unique test that you created, has that, prior to this situation, been peer reviewed and or tested and or accredited?
Forensic investigations aren't under an accreditation category. So as far as I'm aware. The actual test itself, the test and the analysis, is valid and accredited. The difference is the preparation, but a preparation may vary even on, say, a tissue sample. I may not use the same preparation for this liver tissue sample that I use for that brain tissue sample. So that's where that preparation step can vary a little bit, but it is done to get that biological matrix into a format that can be tested on those validated methods.
Because without you doing that, you can't test it. And my point is, there's nowhere in NMS labs, any of their systems, any of their standards of procedures that you can go to pick out what you had to create in order to test this particular.
There's a general standard operating procedure for forensic investigations, but it is highlighted in that standard operating procedure that the exact controls and the exact process for performing that extraction will vary based on the nature of the sample being tested or what we're trying to remove that biological matrix from. So in the past, we've tested, I shouldn't say we, the laboratory has tested things like tampons, used clothing, bedding, sheets. We've been asked to pull blood off of metal. So each one of those matrices is going to be very different, and the ability of us to pull that fluid or that biological sample off of that object is going to vary.
So if you had it, why did you have to create a whole new one? Why did you have to get one that's only unique to this case?
Because each one of these requests is different. Each one of these is unique. The stains aren't going to be the same. They're not going to be the same matrices. It could be blood, it could be urine, it could be vomit, it could be brain matter, stomach contents. And so this is one of those instances where you really have to use an experienced toxicologist or person to go in there and try and determine where that location is for the biological sample and pull out a proper sampling from the article of clothing or metal or wood or whatever it is.
So can you explain then why is the standard written as opposed to one that NMS normally utilizes? This is not what you normally do, is it?
That's my handwritten notes that I was taking contemporaneously, telling you every step that I did that day.
Okay. Isn't this what you had to use in order to extract it?
That was me writing down exactly what I did during that extraction process.
And that is something that was unique to this case that has not been peer reviewed and or tested.
It was technically reviewed. It was technically reviewed by another scientist at the laboratory.
After you created it, I'm talking about prior to.
But I was still following my standard operating procedure. I was using a methanol extraction. I was creating all the proper controls that are written in that standard operating procedure. I was following the method, but that method or that procedure gives me some flexibility in how I need to do that. So I was giving you very specific documentation of how I specifically did that.
If you could please just answer my question. Outside of the individuals who tested,
You'll just ask a question instead of adding what you want everybody to hear and what you think is very flashy. Just ask a question.
Your Honor, I promise I'm not doing that. I just want her
Don't
to answer the
ad-lib
question.
everything.
Has it, outside of the people in NMS, after you created it, is there anyone else that has peer reviewed this test so that it is
Somebody
a
has to
set
peer
of
review
science?
this test under 702.
If the court feels that way, I'm fine. I just want to be able to ask the question.
How could they peer review it when it just happened?
And that is my point as to why we were objecting to the
Have
validity.
you ever had you personally, had any samples taken from a comforter that you found vomit on with some drugs in that you published or had peer reviewed
I mean, so this was included in a publication
afterwards?
after the test was performed, along with other forensic investigations that our laboratory has performed.
What you're saying is unique is taking it from a comforter.
It's not even that part is unique. It's just the having to do some extra steps to really prepare that sample is unique. I can't treat it just like a blood.
So what you did that makes your results unreliable.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, we would object and ask for a ruling from the court as to
Object based on what?
that it has not been peer reviewed and
What
or
hasn't
tested.
been peer reviewed?
The methods that she had to create in order to perform this, in order for it to
You've
move.
never done any samplings from any garments or little blankets or blouses or?
The laboratory has, that's what I'm trying to say, and we published on it. We share those duties. So I performed this one physically on a comforter. Other toxicologists within the company have performed them on other items of clothing. And so we did write up this unique preparation. It's not, and I wouldn't say it is unique to NMS. It's a similar method that's used for other types of unusual matrices, so dried blood spots. That's a very common test that's used in toxicology. It's a similar technique to that.
You've done that?
Dried blood spots I actually have in a previous job.
Does the state have any questions? On their objection, do you have any questions on this process?
No, Judge, I feel like she's fully explained.
Okay, you can step down.
Thank you.
The court is overruling my objection, Your Honor.
I've not gotten there yet. I will. 702, Daubert, GE versus Joyner, Kumho Tire. That list that's proposed under those cases is not all encompassing. It doesn't apply to every field. This lady, according to my understanding, sufficiently says that her findings are reliable just because having her notes that she's never cut up a comforter doesn't mean that her findings are not reliable and would assist this jury. So I'll allow her to testify about the comforter. All right, let the jury step out there.